Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Office Lovers. We are on Sadayoshi Saijo's route, and things are a bit confusing because Mr. Saijo is, kind of ignoring us right now, but I'm sure it's part of his plan to fix things. Alright, I don't feel like rehashing a whole lot. I just recorded the last one, and so this is going to be listed shortly after the last one anyway, so let's just dive right into it. Continuing directly from the last one, you can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. Oh, Chapter 6 is called Hearts in Sync. Oh yeah, we're in the hotel room with Mr. Kaido. I think that he's just going to tell us a secret, and he's making it look like we're having an affair so that we can do this stealthily without Meraki eavesdropping on us, because I think the office was bugged. I don't think Mr. Kaido is really trying to win us over here. I don't think he's that kind of guy. Mr. Kaido had to know why Mr. Saijo was acting so strange lately. I only came to the hotel to find out that one thing, even with a man I didn't know well.
Let's not stand here all day. Sit down.
I'm fine. Just tell me about Mr. Saijo already.
Not so fast. What do you want to know anyway?
He stood up from the bed and came to me, lifting up my chin. Stop it!
Feisty. Is that how you talk to people? That's better. If you behave, I won't have to do anything bad to you.
He looked down at me with a faint smile. I wanted to escape. I didn't want to be in a place like this, except with Mr. Saijo. However, I had to know what was going on with him at all costs.
Are you going to be a good girl now?
Yes.
Good.
He accompanied his laugh with a haughty look. It was degrading to me, but I said nothing.
Stand in front of that closet.
Okay. Next to the bed was a large closet. I stood next to it as asked. What was he having me do? I rubbed my cold fingers together nervously.
Good. Next.
Yes? He gave me a devilish smile while thinking of what he wanted me to do next. Whatever he wanted me to do, I would. I wasn't scared anymore. But how do you even know this is going somewhere that you want? If I could find out about Mr. Saijo, I would do anything, no matter how much I hated it. But what about what Mr. Saijo would think of you afterwards?
Call out for Saijo.
What? Was I supposed to yell out his name like he would come rescue me? I stared at Mr. Kaido in disbelief.
Not up to it?
I am. The man in front of me was more horrible than I thought. He knew I couldn't disobey. I bit my lip. Mr. Saijo, help me! I screamed out his name, hoping by some miracle he could hear me. Mr. Saijo, help me!
Dirili, are you okay?
The closet behind me opened up, and a shadow appeared from inside it. The person threw their arms around me in an embrace. I was too stunned to move. Huh? How he held me. The smell, too. I recognized it. Mr. Saijo? What the hell kind of plan is this?
Yes.
He let me go and moved in front of me. It was without a doubt Mr. Saijo. I want to slap him, actually. But no, I'm going to, hug him. You came for me for real.
Of course I did. No matter when or where, I'll be there for you.
I felt so happy, but why were you in the closet?
Sorry to ruin it for you, but can we get on with it already?
With what? His cold stare brought me back to reality. I felt the blood rush out of my head. I know. I'm sorry, Mr. Saijo. I can't tell you how sorry I am for coming here with... I can't believe myself for coming to a place like this with someone other than you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you got it all wrong. We're going to explain what all this is about.
He put his hands on my shoulders to calm me down. In his eyes, there were no signs of anger or sadness. Seeing that, I could finally settle down. There must be a good explanation for all of this. There was no feasible way for Mr. Saijo to just appear out of a closet when I called him anyway. Yeah, that was kind of weird, really.
Sorry you had to listen to this creep.
I was really scared.
Well, thanks to me, you're getting along better than ever.
Tell me what's going on.
Are you sure you didn't go a little overboard, Kaido?
Even though they seemed to get along, he was looking at Mr. Kaido like he wanted to kill him. I really like Kaido. He's the sadist. I love the sadist. And I know I'm totally in the minority as far as us, Western girls go, but, Yeah, I love me a sadist. And my yanderes and my tsunderes. The big tough guys, tall guys.
Don't forget, it had to be as real as possible for it to be believable. I won't let anyone else but me touch her, even you.
Too late. Whoa. His face and lips swept toward me. I closed my eyes, but nothing ever came. When I peeked my eyes open, Mr. Saijo was looking at my lips.
You didn't kiss Kaido, did you?
His eyes bored into me. I couldn't believe he was asking if I really kissed Mr. Saijo. I didn't. How would I ever? All I wanted to do was know what was going on with...
Really? I see a little bit of lipstick that faded off right here.
He gently touched my bottom lip. I didn't. I never kissed anyone but you. Realizing what an embarrassing thing I had just said, I shrunk away.
Hey, Kaido, can you leave us alone for a minute?
Just a minute?
Calm down. Let's just explain what's going on already. Can't you tell she's totally lost? You're right. I'm sorry. Were you worried?
In an instant, he was back to the Mr. Saijo that I knew. He wasn't ignoring me. He wasn't acting cold toward me. It felt so wonderful. Of course I was. My eyes teared up quickly. When he noticed, his eyes opened with surprise.
We set up an act to see if Meraki has cameras in the office or not. It's part of our plan to make it look like Kaido and I are fighting. You played your part well, so don't cry, okay?
He spoke in a hurry after seeing my tears to help calm me down. All right. While wiping away some tears, I nodded. However, Mr. Saijo was still acting flustered.
You're the one who needs to calm down. I'm out of here. Good night.
What? That's all he wanted to stay here to explain?
Sorry. Bye.
Mr. Kaido made his exit from the room.
I'm sorry. I really am.
No, it's okay. I understand now. He cradled my cheek with his hand and brought out lipstick to fix mine.
Look at you, using lipstick like a good girl. You've become more and more beautiful.
While he was applying it, I couldn't speak, so I simply nodded. His touch was as kind and gentle as I remembered it. I could feel tears starting to form as everything he told me about the act sunk in.
Your lips.
Huh?
Your lips are like they were just made for me.
His words filled my heart with joy. Was this what it was like when a man was so much in love? I'm sure any woman would have loved to hear those words. I stared up into his eyes as he fixed the lipstick on my lips. Mr. Saijo continued across my lips. Those words sounded like something I could use to advertise our lipstick. It made the whole situation seem all the more embarrassing.
About Meraki.
He began talking while still going across my lips. Yeah?
It's possible he isn't only causing problems for us, but also leaking info to other companies. It has to be him who stole our idea and deleted it. He got too cocky.
While explaining this to me, he looked so very sad. I didn't want to see him like this. Isn't there something we can do to stop him?
I'm working on it. I just don't want you to get involved any more than you already are.
It's fine. I'll be okay because of you. Before I could finish, my entire face went red.
What's wrong? Wait.
It seemed like he knew what I wanted to say.
Were you thinking you'll be okay because I'm there to protect you?
Bullseye. I'll nod. No denial anymore. The floodgates are open. With my cheeks all blushed, I nodded. However embarrassed I was to admit it, it was the truth.
Really? Thanks. I'm glad you believe in me so much.
He turned away shyly, which in turn made me feel all the more embarrassed.
Well, we better get out of here before I lose my control.
Why? Go ahead, we're in a hotel room. He tugged me by the arm to lead me out of the room, my mouth still wide open. Whenever it was just the two of us, I couldn't help but desire him. No matter where or when. Woo, a heroine that's actually willing to admit that. I dismissed the dirty thoughts in my head and followed him to the exit where Mr. Kaido waited. Oh, that's right, Kaido's waiting. When I thought of what he said to me in the office and hotel, I just couldn't look at him. Seeing that, Mr. Saijo looked at him with a glare that wasn't quite friendly.
What are you doing here? Weren't you leaving? I forgot to tell you something, so I waited.
He really didn't do anything to me, I promise.
I did hug you.
That face. Just when I thought I was doing him a favor for not mentioning it, he did himself. The tension grew between them as they walked ahead, leaving me to catch up. Don't leave me behind! This was bad. Mr. Saijo looked furious, and I didn't know why Mr. Kaido said that anyway. When I caught up to them, Mr. Saijo put his arm around me and pulled, walking by my side. His face looked scary. It was too frightening to even keep my eyes on it.
I thought of a way to get Meraki. You two can help. Why are you looking at me like that?
You really don't get it?
I have to be mad at you for our plan at work. I'm mad at you now. You don't need to pretend right now. That's for later. I need your help for this to work. No, I'm not pretending. You touched her, didn't you?
Huh? Mr. Kaido glanced at me with a really annoyed face, as if asking me to do something about him. Mr. Saijo?
What is it, my angel?
What? Yeah. His scowl turned into a pleasant smile when he faced me instead of Mr. Kaido. Jeez. I couldn't believe how he acted sometimes. Still, I had to do something about it. I think Mr. Kaido really cares about you a lot. You are good friends, so I think you should trust him a little more than you are. It was easy to see how well they got along together.
No, you're right. It was his idea and I went along with it.
Really? Thank you for helping, Mr. Kaido.
Cut it out. If you say anything to me, he'll become jealous as hell.
Mr. Saijo gave him a nasty look. How could he be this jealous when I only thanked the man? Anyway, I would like to hear what plan you came up with.
Yeah, I want to hear it. Could you tell us more about it? But first, put some more space between you two. She goes at my side, not yours. Don't go near him, okay?
Mr. Saijo smiled at me, but his eyes looked anything but happy. I heard a big sigh from Mr. Kaido, so I lowered my head in shame. I'm sorry, Mr. Kaido, for all this.
It's fine. Anyway, I'll explain.
The day came where the plan Mr. Kaido thought up would go into action. On that specific weekend, we all met up in the city. Will he come?
Yeah, I'm sure of it. Right, Saijo? Of course. Mr. Otori even lent us a hand.
The plan had Meraki and Mr. Otori passing by the place we waited at. I held on to the bottom of my shirt nervously. This Meraki was always causing Mr. Saijo to worry. Whenever he spoke of him, he looked so pained. If our plan succeeded today, there would be nowhere for Meraki to run and hide anymore. That is, we could get all the evidence we needed against him. Mr. Saijo?
Yes?
He was watching the path, fixated. Just looking at him, I felt worried. The plan must go on. Never mind.
Okay.
Mr. Saijo smirked and nodded at me. He must have known what I'd wanted to say. If we gave up the plan, Meraki would continue causing trouble for people.
They're here.
Mr. Saijo twitched in response, before closing his eyes in concentration for one moment.
Let's go.
I prepared myself mentally for what was to come. Okay. 2 figures headed straight for us, through the crowd of people. One was of course Mr. Otori, the other a person who seemed vaguely familiar. I knew that person, but from where? Wait, I remember now. I whispered into Mr. Saijo's ear. That weird person that we saw on the street randomly way earlier that I totally forgot about? I've seen him before. He was staring at us when we were walking together.
Really? I had no idea. Thanks for telling me.
He looked into my eyes with an endearing smile.
You've worried about me for so long, but you don't need to after today. That is, if I can somehow manage to clean up our past.
His expression turned into one of regret and bitterness. I couldn't take my eyes off his face. He turned towards them and started forward, with me hurrying to catch up from behind. I had to see with my very own eyes. At his side. My heart was pounding like a drum. With every step it became louder. And then, as we passed them by...
Who knew you'd be so sloppy?
Meraki stopped in his tracks at once.
What?
I glanced at Mr. Otori, who was watching the events unfold carefully. In my mind, I prayed for Mr. Saijo's safety. Without realizing it, my hands clenched together in prayer.
You know what I mean. You aren't the kind of person to forget so easily. Forget what? Don't play stupid.
Mr. Saijo gave him an eerie smile.
Don't tell me you already forgot. that you tampered with her email and sent it out. Or what about when you changed the sample request? It was all there on your computer. Too hard for you. You should have used a better program if you didn't want to get caught. Muraki.
He brought his face right up to Muraki's.
You thought you were so clever, but you always fall apart at the end. Shut up!
Mr. Saijo! He was picked up by his collar by Muraki, and I screamed in fright. However, unlike the crazy Muraki, Mr. Saijo stared down at him with complete composure.
If you hadn't betrayed me, I wouldn't have had to suffer so much to get transferred here. It's all your fault. You betrayed me. You took all the credit and fame for yourself. If you hadn't been so selfish, you wouldn't have had to go through all this. It's your own fault. Why do you think I got her involved? So you would remember how terrible a person you really are. Did she suffer? No, not enough. She deserves so much worse than being hacked. It's retribution for what you did to me. Checkmate.
Mr. Otori clapped his hands together once, with a loud pop, bringing everyone back to reality.
Damn it! Damn it all to hell!
Muraki grinded his teeth together in frustration before turning around and sprinting away. Mr. Saijo, are you okay? Instead of answering me, he just watched Muraki run off into the distance. His eyes were grieving, as if he'd lost something precious forever.
That went very well. I'm glad to see it end without any violence. Are you okay, Mr. Saijo? Yeah, I'm good. You did a fine job forcing it out of him. You are truly the scariest person in our company. How am I supposed to take that as a compliment?
He wore a faint smile as Mr. Otori pat him on the back.
Of course. To pull off a scheme like that, it's a very valuable trait. We heard he was guilty from his own mouth. Couldn't have asked for anything more. Good work. Thank you.
A very pleased Mr. Otori thanked everyone for their help in the plan before excusing himself. Just Mr. Kaido, Mr. Saijo, and I remained. It was all over, so we could relax, but Mr. Saijo's face looked a little pale. Was this a good time to ask about it? I shall, talk to, wait, no. Ask him. As soon as I was going to ask, I decided not to. If he wanted to talk, he would.
It'll be fine.
Mr. Kaido gave Saijo a huge slap on the back. Mr. Saijo stumbled forward and turned back with a smirk. The two chatted together for a while until Mr. Kaido decided to leave as well. It seemed to me that Mr. Saijo was trying his best to put on a happy face for us. I had to say something. It was too hard to bear seeing him like this any longer. It was my responsibility to cheer him up when he was sad. None of this was your fault. It's bothering you, right? The thing Muraki said. It's about when you went to apologize for his mistake, isn't it?
Yeah.
It all boils down to a difference of opinion, that's it. So it's not about who's right or wrong.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
I need to think about this on my own for a while. So, I'm sorry. Thanks.
I wanted to reach out and stop him, but it would change nothing. I watched him walk away alone. Thanks for what? Instead of thanking me, he should be more concerned about his own well-being. Feeling completely helpless, I stumbled towards the train station to go home. A few long and gloomy days later, I found myself in the meeting room. There was a rumor spreading around that I had left the office with Mr. Kaido. Of course. However, both Mr. Kaido and Mr. Saijo denied it, so the rumor quickly died. That didn't do anything to improve the shaky relationship between Mr. Saijo and me, though. We were polite to each other, but were keeping our distance. It was too hard for me to carry on like that. I had to do something.
No, all that's left is the color. Have any ideas?
His eyes were vacant, lifeless. It hurt me to look at him. I have a few.
Oh, can I see? I have some of my own as well.
I'll take a look at yours. As for mine, the concept is a woman in love. I felt like I could actually visualize that concept now that I'd been in love. I put together my feelings of love and of Mr. Saijo in my ideas.
My inspiration was colors that I want to give to you.
I glanced at his papers, and when I saw his selection, my eyes opened in surprise. Shiny?
Shiny crimson. What about it?
Our eyes met. I picked that too. I called mine Shiny Crimson too. I was inspired by something he said to me.
Really?
When a guy gives a girl lipstick, he wants to make her his own.
It's a gift for lovers. So among all the colors, the most precious next to gold.
Because he wants to capture her heart.
By any means possible.
I couldn't bear it any longer. I had to look away. With that in mind, I picked Crimson.
Dirili?
He slowly stood up and wrapped his arms around me. I think any woman would be happy to get lipstick like that. I stretched my arms around his back, holding him in a loving embrace. Here's what I bought.
Great work. These are wonderful. Let's go with this. It'll be a hit, I'm sure.
Okay. He finally smiled. It had been so long since I'd seen it. It made me feel good. If I could describe it, it felt like the start of a new beginning, like things finally started moving forward again.
Well, well.
Mr. Kaido! He came in on us still holding each other. I scrambled to get away from Mr. Saijo. Mr. Saijo bore a hateful glare upon Mr. Kaido.
I came to talk about work, but it looks like I'm getting in the way here. You have the worst timing ever.
Not at all. We would love your help.
This room is the sacred land where we shared our love for each other. Got it, Kaido?
Oh my god. Did he just basically admit to him this was where our first time was?
What? Your love?
Forget that. Anyway, what is it that you're holding?
I got it from Mahiro. He's done with the design, so I bought it for him.
I took the paper from Mr. Kaido and noticed a note in the margin. It read, "Keep up the good work. I tried to make something new and exciting for you guys. I know you two will be able to make something truly amazing. Good luck."
I also have a message from Ibuki. He asked that you don't get down over it.
About what?
Okay, thanks.
Obviously, Moroi. I had no idea what they were talking about, so I looked at the design that Mahiro had made. This is gorgeous. It will match the crimson perfectly, especially this white part here.
If this is a sign to go with crimson, then we better not ignore it.
Mr. Kaido said he would take care of the production arrangements for us. We could finally relax just a little bit more at work. I was organizing the last of the needed papers when Mr. Saijo came back into the office. It was only the two of us working late. I hadn't expected to see him stay until this hour. I will, of course, talk to him. I'm leaving now. That's what I'm going to talk to him about? Just say I'm leaving? What, the other one was I just going to leave without saying anything? It just didn't feel right to leave without saying anything.
All right. Did you get a lot done?
Yeah, it's going pretty well.
Good.
Mr. Saijo?
Yes?
I know the whole situation between you and Moroi ended up like this, but... He nodded and let out a sigh. I'm sure that someday, Moroi will understand why you had to do this. Maybe not, he seems kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
Before I could say anything, he leaned forward and hugged me.
Thank you.
With his head resting on my shoulder, he nodded over and over, as if agreeing with me. Come on, Saijo, pull yourself together. We got 2 more chapters, and now that Moroi's gone, we gotta start working on our relationship here. Alright, if I'm gonna get that chapter done tonight, I gotta jump into it now. So, hope to see you in that next video, and I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.